David. Okay, welcome. Yeah, well, full house tonight. Really impressive. Very nice. Friends, people I gave birth to, people gave birth to me. I have in the audience tonight the Jewish comedian's dream. I have my mother and my mother-in-law in the audience. Yeah. Not since Milton Berle has it been so good, right? So, of course, my wife is also in the audience, says to me, well, how about being funny for a change, you know? Nah, why wreck a good streak, you know? But, yeah, no, it's great. Women of my life, I love them all, you know. So with my mother, of course, I've loved my whole life, you know. Here we are in the old country, and she's standing there talking to her two friends. And, you know, my son loves me so much that he flew me down to Miami. The second one says, you know, or other friend, she says, my son loves me so much that he flew me and a bunch of my friends onto a Caribbean cruise, right? Of course, my mother tops them all. She says, my son loves me so much that he spends hundreds of dollars a week in analysis. All he does is talk about me. So this is my true love for my mother out there. And then, and my wife and my mother-in-law. You know, mother-in-laws are great. They're unique in the annals of history, right? There you go. I mean, you know, what's the definition of a love cruise, right? Taking your mother-in-law to the airport, you know, or if you miss your mother-in-law, what do? You reload and try again. My mother-in-law, I mean, she's special, right? Because when my wife called her to tell her that I wanted to marry her, she had sadness in her voice, and so my mother-in-law died. He says, well, what's the problem? So my fiancé said, well, he's not religious. He doesn't believe in hell. My mother-in-law said, marry him, dear, we'll set him straight. It's been a wonderful 26 years. Actually, right, we met here. Well, we didn't meet here. The two families met in this very building 26 years ago on the top floor. We had a powwow dinner, right, you know. Of course, what's the difference between in-laws and outlaws? Outlaws are wanted, but we wanted everyone there. It was a really good time. But anyway, here we are 26 years later. My in-laws came in from Wisconsin. You guys have heard of Wisconsin, great place, right? Wisconsin was in the news recently because they have a tourist federation, okay? And so they initially named it WTF, okay? Now, for those of you who instant message, you know, it wasn't the best of letters, right? You know, so you know, what is it, rocket science, they changed it to TFW, you know. And why didn't they think of that at the beginning? Obviously because they were too freaking wasted, you know. And of course my father-in-law is here also, who he recently completed his 163rd marathon, and the family rewarded him, yes, the family rewarded him with a visit to a 5-star emergency room. But he's here anyway, enjoying the time with us. Anyway, back to the rest of us here. We're here celebrating the holiday of Sukkot. You all having a good time here, the festival of booths. Of course, the National Parks Authority was ready for their 200,000th visitor on Facebook. You know, that's the way things go here. Everything's virtual. And of course, Barack Obama, this is a holiday that just drives him nuts, right? Because to each little settler house, all of a sudden, there's another new little house. This will not stand, you know. He just doesn't get this holiday. But it does speak to a lot of different people in the community. You know, there is the BLTG community, right? That's not bacon, lettuce, and tomato with garlic. That's the bi, lesbian, transgender, gay community, right? And why does this holiday speak to them? Of course, the Arba Tamimim. And anybody here get down to Arad for the music? Yeah. But, you know, living in Jerusalem, you don't have to leave, right? You don't need an Arad rock festival. You get an Arab rock festival right here in Jerusalem, up the way in Shuafat. You don't have to go anywhere. Anyway, that was this week. Last week we had the fast. Did everyone have an easy fast, I hope?
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. More or less, yeah. For me, the problem was the atonement. You know, I spent all day atoning for my bad jokes, and I only got as far as last November. I mean, it's when you're an unsuccessful comic, the time passes very slowly. But everyone celebrates in their own way. You know, our poor little rich girl, Sherry Harrison, who usually hears voices from her head. She heard voices from her stomach, you know, and the mother who starved her children, wished them all a happy Yom Kippur. You know? And Gabi Ashkenazi, the Ramatkal, right, the chief of staff, gets up there and he gives his annual Yom Kippur address, 36 years since this horrible war, and 3 months since my credit card got stolen. He got over that too. Everyone gets a life. Even Ehud Olmert, right, of course, in his deposition, he writes that on one Yom Kippur, Morris Talansky calls him and says to him, Chatima Tova, right? Immediately hangs up. No one, he doesn't. He plays it straight, I mean, Olmert's really in bad shape. He's hoping to offset some of the prison time that he's going to get from the Goldstone report with some of the prison time he's going to get for his bribery convictions. And, he's, look, even Ehud Barak is going to have to serve time in prison for this Goldstone thing. And this really is the big news, this problem that Israeli elected officials are going to have forever, right? Because wherever they go, they're going to get persecuted, right? And it's not just officials, right? Already the move is on that when Yossi Benayoun doesn't score for Liverpool, off to the center, But anyway, Ehud Barak, right, was in England, okay, and he stays, okay, and everyone's wondering why isn't he coming home, right? So of course the first response was, I'm going to leave my wife alone in Marks and Spencer with my credit card? He stayed there. He stayed with her. And then of course they got really worried when he shows up at the English Labour conference, right? Because they think he's angling for a portfolio in the English conference, in the coalition government in England, but fortunately he came home. And then, that was the past. And now, of course, we have in front of us Simchat Torah, right? Everyone's ready for Simchat Torah. Now, we have a very special minhag at our synagogue, right? We have something that's called Siyum Hashatz. Okay, now, what happens is that we have a Scotch club of which I'm a president, and then, yes, everyone's got a Scotch club, right? Everyone's got a Scotch club, right? And in fact, that's a story in itself, because in our little corner of the world, this is the third most powerful and the most respected position, right? Because in the free world, right? Because up at the top of the pyramid is POTUS, right? President of the United States. Just a awkward locution, vowels and consonants. And then right below him, of course, is the president of the shul, right? Putz, right? Okay. My position, right? I'm president of the Scotch Club, right? I'm the posek. Okay, Anyway, we have this siyum of the shots where about every year, largely, we manage to clean out the liquor cabinet, and then we go. But the OU is waging war on us. It's really a tough battle out there. I don't have to tell you all these hate emails I get, Why don't they like us largely? Because they say, now you see them, now you don't, And you just got to be consistent in this kind of thing, and then there's all the issues of after you've had a couple drinks, why are you duchening? You have to go to the bathroom, you're not on your way. But anyway, Simchat Torah is a fun time for everyone. And then, of course, here we are in October. I don't know how much you know, but the school year just gets started now. It's this really weird calendar for those of us from the West. But the school year started, and a little variation this year, because of swine flu, right? Everyone has to wash their switchblades before they come to school, after they get there, and when they of course, whenever they kiss in the system now, if anything's a problem, they send them off to the hospital to make sure that there's no swine flu. But the school year did have some tradition, and that was that the present minister blamed his predecessor for all the problems. That's the way it goes. And then, of course, in America, there was a little variation. Obama, who just comes out with 10 policy statements a day, decided that the school year should be longer, right? Now, this is like a no-brainer, right? Didn't you all have a long school day? You do something bad, you stay in detention. I was in school till 5:30, 6 o'clock every day. We didn't need any long school day. It wasn't a big deal with us. And then, of course, in Tel Aviv, in the courtrooms, it's not Shalom Kita Aleph. I don't know if you know that. It's the first thing that everyone says. But of course, in Katzav's courtroom, it's Shalom Aleph. Everyone's getting ready for her to speak. And then